Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the illustrious PokéPals Pokemon podcast. We are back once again with the Renegade Musher, Tone and the Strongman as we take you deep diving into all the things to do with Pokemon, TCG, the community and everything in between. We are going to talk about how London Card Show is this weekend at time of release of the podcast episode, what is going on with ace grading and how pretty much their entire reputation is down the toilet, how you guys are feeling within the community. We analyse the strongest things in Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia. Tone gets a good old moan out of his chest. We show our little card of ours, and then afterwards we do some plebby banter. Gentlemen, episode 8, we've made it here finally. How are we feeling?
Warm, once again. And it is not a feeling I enjoy. Warm, muggy. That should be same for our host, not the weather outside.
Honestly, it's so hot, and it's just always hot. I'm always so warm.
Well, that was the British segment of the podcast, as we like to moan and say horrible things about the weather. As I said during our intro, it is London Card Show this weekend. And we, as a podcast, will be attending Saturday the 16th of August. We will be going VIP, which is very important podcast, if you didn't know your acronyms. If you see us, come and say hello, come and get a photo, come and join in some of our content. Tell us your whimsical and funny opinions, show us the cards that you've bought so that I can be jealous and steal them because I'm a poor, poor boy. Gentlemen, are you looking forward to LCS? Because I, having never been to LCS, am nervous about the size of it because a big room is scary, but also very excited because I finally get to do this and my arms will actually be around my co-hosts.
Except it'd be more like doing this. And you've muted yourself.
I've just muted myself by accident by getting too excited about the fact that I'm actually 5'6".
What actually happened was Mush muted himself, but both his hands were on screen. Something else has pressed the button. I, for one, cannot wait for LCS. It is going to be the biggest card show I've ever been to. I've done like a couple of local ones. Worcester Card Show is the biggest one I've been to, and that is like not even half the size of London. So very excited. Bit apprehensive because that's going to be a lot of people in not a lot of space, but that is one thing I'm sort of dreading, but I cannot wait to meet you guys in person and all the fabulous people of this Pokemon community.
Yeah, no, I'm buzzing. Again, it's going to be my third one, but I've not been for 15 months now. So it's been a while since I last went to an LCS, just because of life, being busy, working. So I'm really excited, and from what I've heard from when I last went, it's evolved. There's another floor opened, which will help spread it out a bit, because even 15 months ago it was busy in there, very busy. But I'm really excited, mainly because I finally get to meet you two, mainly because a lot of our PokéPals are a lot of friends that we have never seen in person are going to be there. The card shows I've been to, no matter what purchases you make, no matter what finds you find and what you walk away with, the best moment is always the people you meet. And that's every single card show I've gone to. It's so fun getting to meet people. So no, really excited to finally have us three all touching tips. Really excited to just be out in the community again. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. So echoing what Mish has said, come see us, come say hello, don't be shy, even if any of us are, but come say
Yeah,
hi,
realistically what's
come
going to
question
happen
us.
is that we're going to go to LCS and me and Ed are going to stand shoulder to hip because I'm 5'6" and he's 9'3", and Tone's just going to be shouting, go, come and say hello to the PokéPals Pokemon podcast, and I'm going to be hiding behind Ed, who's going to somehow be hiding behind Tone. It's going to be a very weird play on Russian dolls, where the biggest one is in the middle.
It's gonna be like, you know when you see them old cartoon films where the gangster is the little midget that does all the talking. I feel like that's gonna be me. Where
We're just going to
the
be
short man in front to do the talking.
Are you
your
my
private
bodyguard.
security at LCS. Toad's going to be there having a moan at vendors for not paying him enough for his cards, but he's going to
And
be
they go
doing
like,
it.
who's this little person? Oh, yes, ToneZone, we're so sorry. That's what I hope.
We are going to be the
The
male
fella.
equivalent to Chelsea Green's Secret Harvest. It's going to be a really exciting time, and as Tone said, although that we do make a little joke that we are nervous, it is going to be fantastic to meet all of you guys from the community. Please do come and say hello. Give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, only the nice ones, please. I'm a fragile creature. Show us what you're hunting for, tell us what you're looking for, and tell us what you're doing in the community on the day. Other than that, have loads of fun, stay safe, be nice to everybody. That's about it. That's all we ever want from Pokemon in the community. Be nice, stay safe, and have fun. That is the most important bits of it. And speaking of having fun, Pokemon have once again dropped a brand new set on us in the middle of a set that we're already trying to collect, which means I won't get any of it. Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia, the new Pokemon Japanese set, has already hit shelves, stocks, and places in the UK. Whatnot streamers and everybody alike is already shotting it to all of their nearest and dearest customers. Having had a look at the set, there are a lot of cards that I really like. Shout out to Steelix, Ninjask, and Shedinja. Don't know why, I just really like the look of all three. Of course, there's the Bulbasaur line, which is looking incredible, the Lucario Megas, the Mega Venusaur, and of course, we've got the brand new Rarity tier, which I'm sure we will touch on later. Boys, how are we feeling about Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia?
I'm actually very impressed by the set so far. It's one that I've fortunately got a couple of PC ETBs on the way when it releases in English, but I think I might actually get into this a bit more in Japanese just for the price point, potential accessibility. But yeah, like you touched on the Steelix, I absolutely need. The Bulbasaur line, definitely. There's even an Executor that I really like the look of. I think he's one that gets overlooked in the Lieutenant Surge SIR trainer card. I love what they've done with that. Like, it is a very Marmite card, but I am all about it. I love that kind of style. So I think I'm definitely going to look into picking some of it up at some point, but I'm going to wait for things to cool off, as I'll cover a bit later on. It's going a little bit bananas at the moment.
Yeah, no, I echo what Ed said. Like, to be honest, mainly because of the move and other things going on in life, I've not really picked up much. So I've still only opened what 14 packs of each Black Bolt White Flare. No pre-orders for any of the mega sets yet. It may even be the set I finally move over to Japanese permanently for A, pricing, B, quality, which I'll touch on later. But no, seeing some of the cards I have seen, it's like we said, we've all said it, we're all going to say it, that Steelix, oh my goodness, get in my arms now. It needs to be with all of us, honestly. If anyone is watching this and has pulled 3 Steelixes, we'll give you all of our address. Send it, please. Much love, PokéPals. And then the Bulbasaur line again as a starter boy. I have to get it. The artwork, the way they sort of connect as well. Incredible cards. And I will say I am on Ed's team here as a Kanto boy and loving them trainers. Like when we saw the bot card in Destined, I had to get it. Or Journey even. Seeing a Lieutenant Surge, who is always an awesome trainer. Really cool artwork, I think.
It is cool. I just, as a big fan of Lieutenant Surge, I just wanted something way gnarlier. I feel like they've really kidified, if that's a word, his like character and the design style. But that's fine. There are a lot of cards that I really like that have got that sort of like softer animation style / drawing, and that's absolutely fine. I just feel like for Lieutenant Surge, he was one of those ones that I'd prefer a more gnarlier style. But everybody has their opinions of cards, and that's what makes it great.
And talking of opinions, let's talk about as we spoke about it on the last pod, and we done a recent Insta poll on the opinion of the Gardevoir. Do we prefer the Paldean Fate Shiny or this new one? Now, I will quickly say, Instagram, what do you disagree with yourself and your own opinions? Because I looked on the podcast Instagram, and it was 88% in favour of the old Paldean Fates. I did exactly the same story, and I got 54% to 46%. Still in favour of the Paldean Fate Shiny, but a much, much closer margin with almost the same people voting. So, make it make sense.
Somebody somewhere make it make sense. I think that massively, I think the Paldean Fates Gardevoir will stand the test of time as being possibly one of the best Gardevoirs ever. There are some Gardevoirs from the Sun and Moon era, I think, and Breakpoint era around then, that's got some really nice ones. There's a Mega card from that era that's really nice. But I don't think that this new Mega Gardevoir... Now, there are a number of people out there that will disagree with me, and that's fine. We love opinions. That's why we do a podcast. But I don't think it's going to hold up as well as everybody's making it sound at the moment. And it's the same...
No, I totally agree.
It's the same as the gold ones. Gold ones are cool. If you get one, congratulations. They look... I really like the look of Lucario in comparison to the Gardevoir. But I'd still rather have the SARs over the MURs or whatever their rarity code is. I am a card code stickler, so I'm sure I'll get told off in the strongest analytics later on. Talking about cards that are bringing up big conversations, the Seismitoad from Black Bolt and White Flare, having been in the conversation and the rounds for potentially being banned. I am making sure that I pronunciate all of my B's there. With a ban in the potential future for this card, how do we feel? Now, I'm going to quickly, before we move on, flash it in front of my face now. Lovely, thank you, Mush. With the designs that's going on with the apparent 666, which is just some swirls, how do we feel, Ed then Tone?
To quote a previous Ed, it's a fucking shambles is what it is. Like, it is the softest, most overreaching reach for a card to be banned I've ever seen. It's like, it's clearly some plant, like, stems that have just looped around in the typical Kanda style, in that gothic-y, unbelievable artwork that he does like nobody else. And people are like, oh yeah, that says 666, that's inciting the devil. Like, no, Tommy, little 4-year-old, ain't going to pull that card and be like, you know what? Hail Satan. It's so stupid. It's like, you get the previous cards that have been banned. Like, you've got a cheeky little Grimer looking up a schoolgirl skirt. Obvious ban. You've got people sucking on a cow's udders. Bit weird. Obvious ban. You've got a nude Misty. Obvious ban. This is the... There's people like you, Mush, that are driving up the prices of one of the cards later on. But it is like, you can see why those cards get banned. This one, someone has like gone out of their way to go like, no, that's inciting support for the devil. Let's get it banned. But coincidentally, I've actually got 50 copies of this, so it is going to get banned. So definitely give me all your money to get a card that's going to be pulled, even though it's been out in Japanese since June. It would have been pulled by now. That is a full 6 weeks. Don't be a stupid boy on the internet. This card is not getting banned. It shouldn't get banned. Let us just appreciate the beautiful Shinji Kanda artwork that it is.
Absolutely, and not to delve into older topics, but there are certain sneakerheads out there that was like, oh, if we all say this is going to get banned, and we now make it the 4th most expensive card in the set, it is absolutely mind-blowing. It's so crazy. So now people like Ed, people that are massive Shinji fans that want to collect all the artworks out there, are now having to pay triple figures for a not banned card. For what reason? Because other sneaker bros, they said, bro, do you know what, bro? This is a banned card, bro. Raise up the price, bro. Idiots. Absolute idiots.
Don't sleep, chat. Run it up.
Run it
A
up.
quote from several people that I don't
If
really
it doesn't
care
sell, it'll cut in half. Sorry.
for. Now.
Got a bit ahead of myself there.
They'll only ban half the card.
They'll only ban half the scissors. You'll have to slice at it. It's a very odd one for me because since being back in the hobby for the past, what will be year now? Actually, yeah, it will be over a year. I'm yet to see this kind of conversation come about any card. I've seen a few like grumblings and moanings about cards that have been banned in the past that people would love to see unbanned. Obviously, they did a reprint of the Grimer where they've changed its eyes direction. I don't see why they couldn't redo a Misty's Tears with not Misty's Tears. What's it called? I can't remember what the actual card name is. The naked Misty. Put a top on her. Done. Problem solved. It'd take you 5 seconds to edit that in. You could reprint that. It would be fine. There's a lot to be said about certain people in certain group chats and certain discords just going, here, Chavy, here's reason to do danger. Now let's run up card and get $5,000. Because realistically, and I do not mean this in any offensive or poor worded way, that card is still not the best card in the set. It's not even in the top 5. It doesn't beat a number of cards that are in the set. And I'm a big fan of the Kanders. Massive fan of a lot of the work that Shinji has done, especially since Ed showed me his Master Artist collection. It's really opened my eyes to a lot of the really cool cards that he's done that I've forgotten about. Like the Common Survivor. My God, do I love that card. Just for the style of it, it's fantastic. But running this card up because you're using the Provocateur that 666 is on the card is pathetic, boring and stupid. Please ship yourself to the nearest away island. While we move away from banned card conversations and we talk about what is going to be the vast chunk of our podcast this week, what is going on at Ace Grading? There has been a lot of talk, movement and issue with Ace Grading in the past 2 weeks since our last podcast. Now, we do filming bi-weekly, so when you see the podcast on a Tuesday, the week after on a Thursday we film it, so there's been about 10 days between when we film a podcast to when we release it. Since we have filmed our last podcast, I myself have had an Ace submission back. I have had 2 cards, I don't want to say damaged by them, but I do not believe that they were damaged when I sent them, because why would I send damaged cards to them? Inciting water damage, which I find incredible considering that my submission was 8 cards. I got 5 10s, 1 9, a 7 and a 1. I'm not going to say any more about my own submission because I keep my opinions about my own stuff to myself. While I feel that I was treated poorly and had a pretty whack response, I'm not the only person in the universe that's ever had that. But that was my feelings towards it. I don't believe what you said, and I, as a fan of the brand, now feel deterred from utilising you in the future, which sucks. We obviously have to speak on the fact that Ace Grading have done a massive change in their price structure. They've added in a new tier, the luxury tier, which now is £50 per card for a 2-day turnaround, not including the price charge of an art match label or postage back from the company. Introducing the luxury tier has bumped the ultra tier down to £25 per card for a 5 business day turnaround. Premier is now £18 for a 15 business day turnaround. Standard is a £15 per card for a 30 business day turnaround. And my personal favourite and genuine PSA style piss take, basic tier at £12 per card, with, I would like to add, a minimum of 10 cards per submission, is an 80 business day estimation turnaround. I sent my cards on standard when I did mine. It took 36 business days. So already it was over time, and I've incurred what I do believe to be damage at the other end to my cards. Not only have they risen up their prices, there has been poor customer service across the board, shown in multiple areas, including their own Discord. I am not taking any screenshots of their Discord. I believe that is a private space. Although it is a public area, it's a private space for people to move their wants and their issues with the company then and there. Cards damaged, and we will move on to that because we have had a listener send in their conversations and proof of their card being damaged by Ace that we will touch on later. Before we move in to talk about one of our listeners' issues, gentlemen, how do we feel about the issues that Ace have put out into the world, going from Ed into Tone?
I think the only word I can put out there is disappointed. I, from the get-go, have been a massive fan of Ace. I've plugged them anytime anyone's asked for recommendations on who they should grade their cards with. I have graded my personal grails with them, and up until recently they were my absolute go-to for grading. I've done the full Unigaba promo set. I've done my Gengar VMAX alternate art, which is, as we all know, my ultimate grail, and I trusted them to do it, and they did a great job at the time. I think I understand having to scale the business. Fully understand that you need more resource internally, which comes with more staff, which comes with more overheads. All of that is obvious. We know this. But to sort of the way they announced these price rises annoyed me, I will say, because the service that you used to pay £25 for, you are now paying £50 for. The service that you used to pay £15 for, you're now paying £25 for. And no disrespect to Ace, but their standard labels are, in my opinion, awful. You go to Ace because you want the Ace label. I think it's very telling that Randolph himself will not buy Ace labels if they have the Ace labs, if they don't have art match labels, or if he does, he will haggle on the price because he will get it reholded. That's not opinion. That is in one of his videos. It is in the public domain to see. As I say, I want to believe that like Ace can come back from this and that these are teething issues. But when you're seeing cards get mislabeled and a Latias has I can't even remember what it was, but it was so out there it wasn't even a close Pokemon. For the purpose of this
Toad
example,
School.
what was it? Sorry.
It was a Toad School label on a Latias card.
And it's like that shouldn't happen when there are two quality assurance stages as part of the grading process. Again, I understand you're training new staff up, but when you're paying now a higher price for a lower quality service because more and more of these mistakes are circulating and slipping through the cracks, the customer service when you do have a legitimate complaint or grievance is met with a lot of confrontation, passing the blame, and quite dismissive behaviour. And then you're saying, oh, we're still quicker than like the next best, but really you're on the same level of as a PSA turnaround if you do basic. I've used a middleman service for PSA and I've had my cards back in like 40 business days on the most basic tier. I know that's not the case for everyone, that's just my experience with it. So it's like you don't even have that argument to say that, oh yeah, it's far like better to go with this service. It's just a case of it's domestic, which I always will want to support, but I sort of feel like for me at the moment, Ace are scaling and growing, but at the cost of the people that got them to this point of wanting to or being in a position to need to scale. And it's very disappointing and disheartening. I do still fully hold out hope that things will get rectified and it will be the great service that we enjoyed even 3 or 4 weeks ago. But at the moment, it's a bit of a gut punch, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'll tell you that we all know I like it raw. We know I've not got experience in grading. I've never graded a card. I've had graded cards sent to me, whether I've won them, I might have traded. I think I might have bought one slab in my entire life. Um, but if there ever was going to be a company I was going to go to, it was going to be Ace, mainly because of the colour match label. You see that I'm an affiliate for Kanto Forge, and I love the way they do their backgrounds to match the card. It's what I love about the Ace slabs. And in the years I've been in this hobby, if I was to go for any, it would be them. They are stunning. However, it comes with the caveat of, can I trust the company if it is causing so many issues? And I'll quickly take us back to 6-7 months ago, where the whole community was in disarray towards the PSA company for similar things, for misgrading cards, for all these little admin errors, and it was very all up there. A lot of people were turning to Ace as the UK homegrown company that will fix all these problems and have a much nicer, better label. And they are now having not even the same problems, even worse. To pay for a PSA similar service, you are having to wait probably longer. We are getting total different labels on cards. We are getting damaged cards. We are getting um, spelling errors on the labels, we are then, like we've all said, not to echo the other boys, but when you get these errors that are people's precious cards, people do grading not because some people do it because they just like a slab and they prefer their card in a slab, but mostly it's to look after their most prized cards. At least the collectors. You guys that flip and sell for profit, I'm not talking about you because I don't care. But the people that actually grade for pleasure of holding that graded card, again, Mush wouldn't speak about himself. I'm going to. Mush's two low grades were both Arbok cards, and even though it was Mush and not me, I was in so much pain for him because if that happened to me with a Squirtle or an unknown, I would be going down to Ace and slamming that door open and demanding answers because I'm not sending my Grails, my favourite cards in my collection, to have some Wally, some sausage, claim water damage on my card, which I know is at least a 9 or 10. Because the collectors of us that only sell the handful that we want to send, the handful we want to send, aren't going to send no one graded card. 7 is a major oversight on our part, if so, but I also don't believe that Mush would have had that oversight. So for them to claim that both of those cards, both two pack fresh beautiful Arbok cards, are lower grades, and then claim water damage and give it a 1, it is sickening. It's so bad. And the worst part is, not including the story we're going to go into, this isn't even the first time I've heard of this. We're hearing the water damage excuse far too often, and it's a cop-out. It is an easy way for them to not claim liability. And again, not to echo the boys too much, but when you do go to them for answers, it is shit. Where can I put the blame that is not on us? Yet, as we're going to find out, they won't put the blame, yet they basically take the blame without admitting it. But it's sickening. Their service has become shocking, and I'm kind of glad I don't grade, because the one company that I would have wanted to grade with has now become so tarnished I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole. And it's sad because Randy himself, I enjoy his content, not Pokemon included. But you talk to me about Pokemon, Randy, and I see a totally different person. I see one of the people that I moan about daily that is only caring about the money and is not in it for... I saw the Randy a year and a half ago that I actually thought, do you know what, this man is very passionate about Pokemon. It's good to see. And in the last 3 or 4 months, it's like Randy's passion has been sucked into the money side much more. And I don't know if that's outer influences, the people he's mixing around, but it's now having the effect on his business. And it's really shocking to see that his team, his social media team, his customer service team are making a mockery. I work in customer service, as does Mush. We've both regularly spoke about it. We know what it's like to provide great service and what you have to do. They don't care. They're more about we cannot claim blame. Their customer service team is more run by people that try to be legal boffins. And it sucks. And it sucks for the grading industry in the UK. Because then you've got other companies like PG who think they're hot shots with a Wish version of Ace labels, then having social media pops themselves, thinking that they're the new bigwigs. It's a very crazy atmosphere right now in the UK grading scene, and I feel for you boys that do grade, and anyone that's watching the podcast that does grade. I feel for you guys because I understand the love people have for their graded cards, and Ace aren't making it easy right now.
No, you've both put in some wonderful sentiments, and thank you, Tone, for fighting my corner. It's very kind of you. It is a really awkward space to be in. It's like being at the pub with two of your friends and they're both arguing and you're just sat in the middle like letting it happen. as a massive fan of Ace, and I am a big fan, since coming back into the hobby, I've been very lucky that I've only done 3 or 4 submissions, and they've all been with Ace, and I've never had any issues until this one. It just happens to be like you say, and again, I'm not trying to flaunt my I'm not trying to flaunt my shit on the podcast, to put it another way, but it hurts me that out of all my cards, yes, I've sent some cards that are grails in general, but the Arbok illustration rare from Temporal Forces is the art rare and illustration rare that I've been waiting for my whole life. And to have them come back and basically be...
Mush isn't going to fight his own side, so again, I'm going to jump in and fight. He didn't just send 1, he sent 2, just in case, in a 7-card submission. And only 2 cards got marked down. Both of the Arboks. I would commit sins against people. And he's too humble, the humble Mush he is, to say this, and I understand why he's being humble. I'm not going to be humble for him. It is livid. I'm angry for him. My blood is boiling. Sorry, Mush.
It's right. I'll put some ice cubes in your drink.
Because...
You'll cool down. It'll be fine. The moan zone's coming. Do not panic. But it's, as you say about away from fighting my own battle, the PG grading. Now, I actually know one of the artists from PG, and a big shout out to Ben Mercer, who actually done some really nice art labels for them recently, and has done a really good job at differentiating their labels from Ace's ones. And I do get where it's basically just a knockoff Ace, because Ace obviously at the moment are the leaders in the art match label, but until somebody else does it, there's nobody to challenge them for that top spot. It's like Man City winning the Premier League. Until Liverpool got good, it was just basically a blue win every season. It is a case of, rather than having a cheap, naughty little pot shot at people on the Instagram page, because I didn't really care for that. I'm not about that kind of thing. But rather than do that, up your service to be better than theirs. Prove that hand in hand, state by state, card by card, grade by grade, you can be better than them. Because that's exactly the same as what goes on over in the Americas and the rest of the world with PSA, Beckett and CGC. They are basically playing a game of, no, I'm better than this one. No, I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. My grade means more. Mine looks better, etc. Okay? Because whether you grade or you don't, we can all agree that Ace or PG or any art match label beats the standard label that comes with any slab, especially the Ace standard label. I think it's ugly. I'll say it. I think it's ugly. I'm a big fan of the brand, and I still think
I would never get a standard Ace label.
And even I think the colour match ones are shoddy. The art match label is the only way to go. And like you say, people go to these, bar people that are buyers and sellers and flippers, and it's not a jab at them. I don't care for what you want to pick. But for the people like myself that grade things to keep as grails, I'm not going to get a label that I don't want to look at every day. Like, I keep just above where my camera line is, that is where my slabs sit on my desk. And I'll reach for one here. So I've got the Origin Form Dialga that I pulled in my first ever stream on Instagram with the homies. Got a 10. Got the art match label. It looks fantastic. Phenomenal, if you will. I'm not going to get a standard looking, boring ass white label to go with one of the most delicious cards there are. Because if I could have the other 3, if I could have Palkia, Arceus and Giratina as a 4, I would get all 4 of them done with Ace labels. Don't care about the grade. Fantastic, I got a 10, but I don't care about the grade. And I'd frame them, and it would look incredible. It would be such a nice piece of... It wouldn't even be graded cards. It would be art. Straight up artwork. But to have all these grading companies fight and basically go, I know mine's better than yours, I know you're a cheap knockoff version of me, I know yours is too long, yours costs too much, yours takes too long, you damage this, you do that. We've said it before, and I'm going to reiterate it again before we move into the story from one of our listeners. If there is not a standard across the entirety of the industry, if we cannot all say that, right, this card at this centering with this much damage is a 7, and this card with this centering with no damage and good cut corners and a little bit of bad edging, that's a 9. Oh, this is a perfect card. There is nothing wrong with it. That is a 10. We are going to always forever have the issue of, like, I've got a 9. If I crack it and I send it to PSA, is it getting an 8? And then if I crack it and send it to Beckett, is it getting a pristine 10? Until we get a standard industry baseline, we are always going to have these issues. Not touching on the customer services side, which I am now going to touch on. Now, one of our listeners, Ali, at the Wimborne Poke Centre, whose page I'll post up now, If you haven't go and follow them on Instagram. They are lovely, lovely people, and they do deserve
Absolute
your
legend.
support. As we go through this story, I will be adding snippets and pictures of the conversation, because we have all the screenshots of the conversation between Ali himself and the Ace Grading Service team on Instagram. Now, Ali sent off a submission of this card, which is a Misty Psyduck. Ali sent this off in a 5-card submission, and it came back this. An Ace Grading 5 with a massive scratch across the card. Now, obviously, when I received my cards back with water damage, I was very disappointed, but I'm very lucky that neither of my cards actually look damaged, so I can still display my Arbok and still be happy with the Ace label match. Frustrating that it didn't get a 10, easy for me to say, but again, it's just for me to enjoy and look at every day. Now, Ali is a Pokemon Center shop. He is a shop, it's what he does, but obviously this card for him was a nice card that he wanted to grade and keep as a grail. To have it come back slashed like somebody doesn't know how to cut open a cardboard box is not only, first of all, A, outrageous, but B, it is poor staff performance. If I hired somebody to come and work in the shop I worked in, and the first thing they did was punch a customer square in the chin, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed with their performance, and I'm probably going to have to, on the spot, pile driver them through the nearest table. So, going into the first conversation that Ali opens up with Ace, Ali reads, "Hi, I hope you are well, whoever is reading this message. It's just a quick query of when will my cards being returned, as it's been 34 business days on a 30 business day turnaround. Just wondering how much longer it's going to be." They respond saying, "We do apologise for the delay. We are not open over the weekend. Your submission will be out to you soon." That's absolutely fine. We move into further conversations where they're just back and forth about how long this submission's going to take. And then later on, once Ali receives his submission back, he states, "Hi there, I'm really disappointed and frustrated. I think you can understand my frustration when you see the picture of the card that he sent." He sends over the picture of the card that I flashed up earlier, and with a massive slice through the front, and it's been downgraded to a 5. Further into the conversation, Ace do respond. Now, do apologise if I'm looking up and down. I'm trying to read as I go through. "Hi Ali, thank you for the message. I'm very to see that this has happened, but please be assured it is most likely a scratch on the case and not the card. We would love for you to bring your card back and have this rectified for you." Now, before I read the rest, if the scratch is on the case, why is the card a 5? That doesn't make sense to me. Moving swiftly on. "If you could please send the card back to us, we will have a look and investigate the situation." To which Ali says, "I'm happy to return this card back to you, but please can you give me some advice on what will happen next?" It's a very standard back and forward conversation. As Tone said, both him and I work in customer services. It's a very simple, the customer just wants some rectification of what happens now in this situation. Now, Ali sends his card back to Ace. Ace pick it up. They go through the investigation. Again, as I'm talking, there'll be flashes of the messages here. If you want, you can just pause and join back along with us if you want to have a read. Sorry, Ed, if I've completely covered you in this situation. And then we get into Ali messaging him again, asking them to get back to him, because don't you two dance, right? This is a serious moment. "Who's throwing Gardevoirs?" And Ali sends them another message saying, "I've not plastered this over Instagram or outed you guys for poor performance, but I would like to know what's going on," etc. In a roundabout way of words. Da, 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 da. They say, "Can you send us the card back?" He said, "Yeah, I've done this, no worries." Da, da, da. They say that they've received the card back. Ali says, "No worries, when is this going to be sorted out?" Now, the person that he's speaking to at Ace basically says that I've got a pile of issue boxes that she's got to go through and she'll get there when she can. And then Ali sent a follow-up message saying, "Are there any updates on my card?" Now, this is a message that I find, I don't want to say rude, but rude, to be honest. Blunt, rude, and without any accountability. And I'm going to read it in full, so please do, again, bear with me if I am staring down at my phone. "Hi, Ali. Thank you for your patience while I've looked into this. Unfortunately, we are unable to determine where the damage occurred on the card, I am afraid, as we can see that it is noted on the grading report and therefore was on the card at the point of grading. I find that as a sentence really frustrating, because you could cut open or damage this card while opening said package, shift it over to the bloke to your left that's doing the grading. You see where I'm going with this. There is also further scratches and wear noted on the grading report, which tells us overall the condition of the card was not pristine on its arrival to Ace. I'm not debating that some cards can have nicks, edge wear, and slight corner cuts that we, as standard collectors, may not spot. But a whacking samurai sword slice damage to the front of your card, like you've been playing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice with the card, you're going to notice. This is not Ghost of Tsushima, okay? This is a Pokemon card. Again, they continue with, while we appreciate the before image that you have sent us, this is a screenshot from a social media page and does not prove that the card was in the condition in your possession or that it is the same card. That is a straight up accusation that you are trying to fake or falsify your evidence to the company. That's like somebody bringing me a receipt for something and demanding a refund, and it's just a piece of paper where they've written receipt on it. Ali sent them 2 images.
That's like bringing them an actual receipt and the cashier going, "This isn't a receipt. This doesn't look like a receipt."
So Ali sent them 2 photos. One from, yes, a screenshot of his Instagram page, but also one from his camera roll with a timestamp on it. Remember the timestamp, because that's very important in a later conversation. However, we would like to offer you £100 credit to your Ace account as a gesture of goodwill without prejudice for this incident, and hope that it is a satisfactory resolution to the matter. If you are happy to accept this, please do let me know and I can make the arrangements. That to me screams, we've absolutely fucked it. We apologise, but I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry, to quote all of us from previous podcasts. Ali then responds saying, "Thank you for your response, but I'd just like to stay off by saying my before image is not a screenshot of a social media page." He then goes to provide the same photo with the timestamp as I stated earlier. And as I've said, he feels accused of lying and providing false evidence to back up a claim. While he appreciates the offer of £100 store credit to the company, he is not happy, he does not want it, they've taken zero responsibility, and he does not feel comfortable grading with them in the future. I cannot say that I blame him. In this current situation, this is quite poor service. Realistically, it's quite poor. You would not be happy with it. They then move on to state back, "Hi Ali, thank you for your offering the explanation and on the image you sent in to us and providing more of them. If you ask for a timestamp photo and you get one and then claim that it's not a timestamp photo, explain yourself, because that needs an explanation. You cannot just gloss over the fact that you've asked for something, got it, and then just moved on. We are in no way accusing you of lying to us. We agree that the scratch to the front of the card is not there on the images you have provided. Unfortunately, it was there when the card was graded. But there is a process at your company where you open the parcels, they are checked, quality assurance, sent to the graders, and then quality checked again. I'm not in any way accusing, I'm just merely reading the stated facts that are in front of me from a conversation between said company and said customer. I'm not saying that Ace have definitely damaged it, and I'm not saying that Ali hasn't definitely damaged it, but it definitely starts to look one way more than the other, really, doesn't it? They continue. We are unable to prove where the damage come from. We are still happy to offer the goodwill without prejudice payment of £100 Ace credit to you, but we cannot claim liability for the alleged damage, as there is no proof to state it was sustained while in possession of Ace grading. Ali responds saying, "Okay, I'll just have my card back and I'll be posting this all over social media. I don't want £100 store credit. You take zero responsibility, and to be honest, the customer service I've received is poor." It's pretty crap, to be honest. Like, I've let the boys read this before I do this long, and I do agree that it is long for me to read it all out, but we want to bring this kind of attention to the community. It's what we do here at the podcast. We're here for everybody, and if one of our listeners wants to be heard, I will damn well go out of my way to make sure that somebody says what they need to say. They respond with, "Hi Ali, thank you for confirming how you would like to proceed. I have the card prepared for you to ship back today. Again, I'm sorry that this is not the resolution you wanted or anticipated. Please don't hesitate to reach out in the future if there's anything else we can do to help you." So no longer in that message is there a mention of £100 store credit or anything else, or any kind of alternative reimbursement. They've glossed over that.
That was £100 credit. I don't want it. Okay, then we'll send it back. Thanks, bye.
Yeah. They've completely glossed over that. And then we move into, of course, the resolution is not something that I wanted. I provided you evidence that I took of the picture before it had gone. You claimed it was from a social media account when it wasn't. Why would I want £100 store credit? You have damaged my card and I have no further confidence in using your services. If you sent your car in to be detailed and it came back without a fucking steering wheel, you'd be a little bit pissy about it, do you know what I'm saying? And it's exactly the same kind of thing. Yeah. And he goes on to defend himself, and I think he's well within his rights to do so. It is a really poor piece of customer services. And they follow up with a response of, "Hi Ali, please be assured that we are in no way of trying to place blame on yourself or accuse you of providing false information, nor have we said this at any point. Yet you said to him previous messages, you've sent us a screenshot of your Instagram which could prove that that's not the card that you sent." It's ridiculous. In this instance, the evidence you have provided is of an image that has no scratch on it without timestamp. He sent a timestamp.
Without timestamp.
He sent a timestamp, and they continue to go on to basically state that the card was scratched when it reached the grading point. We are aware that accidents do happen, and we always treat any accidental damages with the utmost seriousness. It doesn't feel like it. From reading this, if I was Ali, I would feel like I'm not being taken seriously, I'm being pushed to the wayside, and I'm being treated poorly. Ali then responds with, "I did provide with a picture of a timestamp, which we have stated multiple times. It seems crazy that you don't have a process in place where the cards are photographed upon arrival before grading." Can't disagree with him there. He then goes into a large message about how poorly he feels that he has been treated, how poorly he feels the service is at the other end, and how he wonders how they have essentially damaged his card and tried to cover it up. He then does state that he would be happy to accept a £100 cash refund. So rather than store credit, straight back to him from Ace. Finally, after again, all the messages will be here. You can read along with me and pause at any moment. After said statements, and it is a bit of a rant, but you know what? Fair play to the guy. I think he's entitled to it at this point. Ace finally come back to him saying, "Thank you for providing your feedback." I can't stand that. As somebody as a customer services representative, you do not need to thank somebody for their feedback. Okay? It's a sarcastic way to say, I didn't really care for what you just said. I am sorry that you feel that this is not a satisfactory outcome for you. We do not ever want any customer to have a negative experience. We believe that we have looked into this incident completely impartially and fairly, and whilst we are not claiming liability for the alleged damage, we feel the resolution to offer a monetary goodwill value without prejudice is the best outcome possible and remains in your favour. I will pass on your details to our accounts team and they will make the payment via backs to you. Thank you, Ace. Ali gets this message on Thursday evening. He then has to chase them all the way through the entirety of the weekend and does not receive his payment until Monday night. Which again, to me, yes, granted, you do not work the weekends. You had all of Friday, and this is a case that realistically should be treated with the utmost sensitivity. Now, I can't speak from my own experience. I emailed, asked for a reason, got a reason, didn't really care for it, but also I'm not somebody that ever really feels the need for confrontation. I find it very, very distressing. And just kind of took it on the chin. I'll find an Arbok in a tent and I'll just buy it. It'll be fine. But for now, I have one on the wall. For Ali and the messages that we have provided, or he has provided us and that we have put on our screen, again, you can go back through and pause and then come back here to this moment and listen to what we have to say about it. I think that he's been treated poorly. I think that their responses are badly worded. I think that there is a large portion of a lack of human empathy towards the situation, and I still find it baffling that they have to chase a resolution after a resolution is agreed. Because as somebody that works in customer services, if I say to a customer, okay, I can do this for you, I do it then and there, because then it's done. The customer feels like I've listened, I've actioned their request, everybody goes home a little happier. Gentlemen, any words?
I think, yeah, whilst I agree there's no concrete way of proving like where the damage happened, completely agree with that. But like we touched on, you would not send a card with an actual physical gash on it in for grading hoping for a 10. Like, you just wouldn't. If the card got like a 9 and had like some light surface issue or like corner or edge wear that we can't see with like the naked eye because we don't have the equipment that they do, you'd fully understand it. You'd be a little miffed, because obviously you want that perfect 10, but it's understandable. When the resolution that you offer is of £100, that is no small amount of money. Like, I know in the scheme of Pokemon where you have cards that are worth hundreds, if not thousands, it seems inconsequential. But when you think that the grading cost at the time of submission for that 30-day turnaround would have been, I think, for that turnaround, like £15 maybe per card, and then an extra £3 for the art match label. So that's an £18 submission for this one card. You're then looking at the raw value of the card being about £35 for that Misty Psyduck. So you're only actually looking at potentially £53 worth of damage in terms of the cost of grading, because you don't want that graded card because they've graded a damaged card, and then the valuation of a near mint copy of the card raw. That's £53, and you've gone in with £100 of compensation. Granted, initially it was store credit, but the fact that you're offering double the amount of like the grading cost and the raw card, that does, to me, signal, as this is my opinion and all alleged for whatever reasons, but that is an admission of guilt. But then when provided with evidence that is time-stamped and there's metadata from like a picture being taken for you to know when the picture was taken, to then be like, oh yes, that is evidence, but nah, you're all right, and to be kind of spoken to in quite an accusatory way, to just be met with very generic, like, there's no, like Mush said, no human empathy. It feels like I could have had a similar response if I was going to ask, oh, there's been a bit of a delay in my cards being graded. I've paid for this turnaround and it's actually taken however much longer. That kind of experience, when it's in quite an emotional and like emotive scenario because your card has been damaged, you know that you've not done it. You like, obviously the blame has to go somewhere, so in this case it's going against the grading company. But when you're already frustrated for a service that you've paid for and you're met with no empathy, potential accusations, and just a general sort of having to constantly chase something that should be seen as quite a top priority, and the fact that the customer service handler actually said, yours is in a pile of other complaints that I'm working through at the moment, it's hard not to be like a bit deflated with the whole scenario, because there's clearly a lot more customer service issues going on that we don't know of, that is potentially misgraded, mishandled, damaged, whatever. There have been instances of cards from submissions being lost recently as well, which I'm sure we can flash up the report for, or screen grabs here. But when you just start putting all of these things together, when you put in all of these things together, it does get quite hard to continuously bang the support drum for Ace like we have done. As we've said, we all hope they can rectify these things, as there are a lot of teething issues with growing. I've worked in startups myself. I know all about like how these things move and work. But just take it on the chin. Say, unfortunately, we dropped the ball this time. This is what we're going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again. Here's the compensation we want to offer you. We apologise that this experience hasn't been the best, but we will do better next time. That's all this scenario needed to be. Everyone would have left feeling satisfied with the resolution. To Ace, it would have actually been less expense because it would have been half the compensatory amount that they've offered. And Ali would have felt satisfied because, you know what? They've owned up to their mistake. You literally cannot ask for more than that. I know from a customer service perspective, there's always a chancer, there's always a trier trying to claim that because he's got a faulty toaster, he deserves a PS5 as compensation. We've all seen those absolute clowns, but when it's a genuine scenario like this, of a card that you have sent in for grading because you believe it can 10, and it has got a gash in it, the credibility is gone, in my opinion, and it's going to take quite a while to build that back up. for me. And just reading through these screen grabs, it's like I can only imagine how Ali would have felt going through this process and having to continuously chase it. So just a bit deflated and disappointed, if I'm honest.
Honestly, there's not much I can add that hasn't been said. I will try. I think you can all tell by my facial expressions during all of this how I felt. I spoke to Ali myself directly. I put out loads of stories about it myself, admonishing the customer service that he received. It is nothing short of abysmal from start to finish, and it's sickening to see because he has sent a card that has been clearly photographed beforehand. He has a comparison of it afterwards. And it's all well and good to say, I'm not sitting here, it's all alleged, I'm not blaming anyone. There is someone that has damaged that card, and it does not look like it was Ali. At this point, ace grading, what do people that are grading their cards need to do? Do they need to... It's a joke that me and Ali had when we were talking about this. Do we literally need to film bubble wrapping it, putting it in the box, film the taping process, film the process of me walking to the post office, and film the guy putting it in the bag? For me to say, I did not scratch that card. He has taken a photo before packing it away and has shown you a timestamp, and that should be enough. Okay? There needs to be a process where, like Ali has said, where you say, this is how it's come. And all they're saying is, on our grading report, it says, your grading report says, jog on, is what your grading report says. It looks 100% like they have damaged the card. It's not just, they tried to plan out that only one person ever touches the card from start to finish. We know that's not it. People are unboxing, they're training new staff. Someone needs to be held accountable. And I'm not saying someone needs to lose their job. I'm not that Karen. But something has happened here where, like Ed said, it's a learning experience. This is what we're going to do going forward. Like something as simple as taking a photo as soon as it's been unboxed. It's that simple. It should be a process where a card is or a delivery is scanned and logged. I used to work during COVID for DPD. Every parcel that comes in is scanned and logged. You know where it is, you know what depot it is, you know what section of the warehouse it's in, you know what warehouse it's going to, where the route, what van number it's going in. Your employees have an employee number. If it's like near enough every single company, you should have this employee number is scanning this person's packaging. They are now unboxing it. Ask the questions. Are you telling me you work in a place that doesn't have cameras? Do I work, again, my job is very loosely based on HR, where I have to find evidence and go through camera footage and do these things. Everything from this story shows Ace being lazy. It is that simple. They have not dug in as much as they should have. They've just looked at a report that says A, B, and C. They even looked at a picture of a card and went, it could be the slab itself, even though the card itself got a 5, because you don't grade your own bloody cases. You've said a photo doesn't have a timestamp when it does. You've said a photo is off a social media thing when it is clearly off of a phone's photo album. You've really, at every single point, shown that you do not care. Whoever the customer service person in this complaint is, they do not care. It is that simple. You have shown absolute lack of empathy, lack of care, lack of passion to the people. Like I said, we're not in it for the money, we're in it for the love of the hobby, as is Ali. And the absolute lack of compassion in this story from every single point, just one of the points we've said is shocking enough. The fact that you've gone from point to point to point and been abysmal. If there's anyone watching this podcast that is either an affiliate of Ace or a fan of Ace, works at Ace, is bloody Randy himself, find out who this customer service person is. Go and speak to them, because We said even someone that doesn't collect slabs, all three of us were fans of Ace, and right now it has tarnished in all three of our opinions, as has Ali's, and as has so many people that have seen not just this story but all the other stories we've mentioned. It is ridiculous. It is shocking. It is very, very upsetting because you say that we do not accept liability, but also here's £100. Just do the right thing. Again, we are really, really sorry that this has happened to you. It probably has been on our part. Even if it hasn't, like, do you know what? We can't determine. However, we understand that you would never send in a card with this scratch. So it could, the little devil's advocate in me, the tiny devil's advocate, is it could have been the postage company. Whether they've kicked a box, damaged it, slashed it. Realistically, though, looking at the slash, someone at Ace opening that box has gone and cut through the card. That's how it looks. We could all be wrong. This is alleged, but it is pathetic service from them, and it is shocking. And to try and put the positive spin, because we all know how angry I can get, and we all know that this is a very, very infuriating scenario. The positive spin here is we are moaning about Ace, and we are admonishing the things that have been happening recently. This is where I want anyone that is affiliated with Ace to really look at all these examples you're hearing, and again, find out who. And I'm always anti-blame culture. As someone that works in the people and HR industry, I don't look for the blame. What I look for, and kind of what Ed touched on, is how do we move forward from this? The people that have done any of these instances, they just need retraining or showing what they've done wrong. The customer service team needs a bloody overhaul at this point, or some fucking people training. Training on how to speak to customers and deal with their issues, and not a chat with just their legal team. Because they're not customer service people, they're legal people. They're like, we do not accept any blame on this, and you cannot hold us in a court of law. Fuck off. You've ruined someone's prized possession. That is the sole existence of your company, is on looking after, saving and improving people's prized possessions. And you've ruined that. And instead of taking accountability, you've gone, no, it wasn't us. But take £100, because that's it is their version of an NDA. With them going, well, that's fine, I'm going to take the £100, but guess what? I'm going to chat so much shit about you because that's what you deserve. It's ridiculous, and I really hope that the positive is they learn from this and it can be improved upon, because what is stopping there be a system where it's like, okay, this is a numbered package, this is photographed, this is Joe Bloggs is doing this package now, he is doing 5 cards, card 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. This is how it was unboxed. This is how this. Again, the grading companies can't even agree a standard between them, let alone themselves. It is shocking. It is abysmal. Hopefully, it brings about change.
I think that you're both right in your own opinions, and you both have some really well worded and structured arguments towards this situation. For me, massively, I definitely agree with Ed in that there has got to be a situation of, right, well, said situation has gone wrong here, so these are the steps that A, we're going to take to rectify it, B, we're going to retrain and show you how we expect it to be done, and C, what we can do going forward in the outward community. It does, to me, massively, as a big member of the customer services industry, is no, you fucked it, but I'll tell you what, I fucked it too. Because to be honest, there are times, like I work for a supermarket retailer. Okay, we do online orders, we do lots of other things, right? And we send like the wrong milk to somebody, and if they kick off about it, they can fucking have us, because there's a big deal between what they've ordered, what's arrived, at what temperatures, at what times, and all of these other things. And 9 out of 10 times, I will just go, do you know what? There's probably an issue at our end. I appreciate that you have brought this to our attention. I'm really sorry. I'm going to get this sorted for you. I'm going to get this sent out for you. This is what I can do for you going forwards. And I'll make sure that our van drivers, our staff, and our pickers and our packers and everybody know what they're doing, and make sure that there are no issues going forward. It's really simple. just hold your hands up and go, there's been an issue. While I realise that this situation is stressful, is really upsetting and a little bit of a deterrent to use our services, please note that this situation has brought to light other situations that we need to deal with, and the next time you do choose to use us, if you do, we make sure that you will receive 100p stellar service. I don't want to give any more of my life or podcast hours to this situation. I think we've given it a damn good talking to. If anybody out there in the world has any other issues, has any opinions, please leave them down in the comments or go over to the PokéPals_podcast on Instagram. Send us a message, leave a comment on one of our posts. Heck, even tag us in your own issues and we will bring them to light. We are here for the people. It is not all dick jokes and Ed's big. Alright? There is more to us than meets the eye like the Transformers in the sky. I am going very quickly to jump out of my chair in excitement because we've just spent 45 minutes moaning. And now we're going to spend 4 to 5 minutes moaning more as we slide open the bifold doors and stroll our way in to the moan zone.
Hi guys, Moan Zone time. And let's go from ace grading to grading in general, because we all enjoyed that moment, right? We all know that I do not grade, and I'm gonna focus on a very specific topic when I'm on about grading, and it is not what we were just talking about, the grading for the love, the passion, the collecting. It's the grading for profit, the grading for flipping. And there's a lot of people that I know listening to this podcast that are going to be like, he's coming for me again. Probably yes. Grading, as far as we're aware, was meant to be to enhance and perfect your cards, your grails, what you love. And there are people out here that are getting this little pile of cards that they are sending off just so that they can, oh, okay, so this £100 card is now £800. Now let's sell it. It's these sort of things that make market manipulation an awful, awful thing. Because people are just, oh, this one, if we grade it, we can flip it. And it is realistically killing the grading market. It is killing the singles market. Because I remember we spoke about OCS 15 months ago. Card shows that time last year were mostly binders with a good amount of stalls having some slabs on their tables. Card show I went to recently, Lincolnshire, was almost 50-50 between binders and slabs. Just slabs everywhere. There's one stall who, I can't remember their names to be fair, but all they had was slabs, and they had boxes of £10 slabs, £20 slabs, £30 slabs, £40 slabs. That's all they had. Just loads of slabs. And to be fair, compared to everyone else, their prices were great, I will say. But people are just grading now just to flip to make a profit. And it is becoming sickening. Grading is making this a cash grab. They're making this hobby much more of a cash grab, which we're all moaning about that this hobby is becoming. It's not a trading hobby or selling my doubles to fund the cards I was getting into, which again, 2 years ago was what it mostly was, unless you were as a whatnot bro, which I was, but I wasn't doing it to just make a bit of money. Everyone these days is like, do you know what? If I do this, it will make me a lot of money. And I know all three of us are in a group chat where people have discussed, oh, if I collect this, this and this, I can then grade these to flip to make money. It becomes a dangerous game, and I recommend not doing it. Also for yourselves, looking at the market manipulation that there has been, you don't know if that card, if you send a card away and it comes back 40 days later, that card's price has plummeted because you've had to wait to get it graded. You've spent all this money, you've paid £25 on a service to get it graded, and you now can't sell it for the money you wanted to because you had this trust me bro mindset of getting a bit more money for the card. It is ridiculous, and it's loads will disagree. I don't care. That's my feeling, and I'm starting to get infuriated by how much it's making more cards needing grading, which makes companies like Ace bring out a £50 submission. everyone's complaining that they can't get slots to grade their cards. They can't get slots to grade their grails. And it's because people are just grading to get cards back to then sell. It is infuriating. Get a job, please. Someone messaged in about this to one of my moans when I discussed this, and they said, although people are happy to take grading as being one of the main drivers in pushing up prices, there are people looking to capitalise on the hobby through this, and even doing this pushes up raw card costs because of prospective financial value of post-graded cards. It's a very important point. So even the people that do not grade, their cards that they want raw, the prices are going much higher, and much harder to get, because people are like, well, do you know what? If we flip this for Ace 10 or a PSA 10 or lo and behold a Beckett 10, we're going to make so much money off this. It's pushing pricing up, whether people want to accept that or realise it. And there are people that might be listening to this like, yeah, but I get to make a couple of £100 extra quickly. Ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, but you're ruining it for everybody else. And again, the person said, a lot of these grading companies are known for their inaccuracies. And somehow it then makes grading more valuable than any other company. But because of this, it's a painful part of the grading process is when people are bulk grading the same cards or similar just to flip for a profit. Sticking with the flipping for profit people, let's look at the hobby lately and some of the people in the hobby that are only in this hobby for one bloody reason, and it's money. I've moaned about them a lot. I've moaned about them so much. It is getting to the point, if you are listening to this podcast and you're endorsing these people that have similar sayings to don't sleep chat, don't sleep, get on it, get swiping, don't let it go for this much, you can't be letting my card go for this little, oh my god guys, how are you're ruining this, bid higher guys, this is worth so much more. It's even worse when they say this is worth so much more in a PSA 10, even though it's a raw card. I'm not going to mention names, but there are certain people that cut cards in half. There are certain people that will pull an Umbreon in a free pack and hide it and give a totally different card because it was a free pack and they did not make money for the big card that was in there. There are people that do not care about you, and people are seeing people do this. People are seeing people sell packs on Whatnot for £18 to £20 a pack. They are seeing people do this ludicrous pricing and this ludicrous sale tactics. And instead of going, hold up, that's ridiculous. What you're doing is disgusting to the hobby. People are going, oh, but they have a name. I must bow down to them. There are people endorsing, supporting, and talking up these people and these companies, and it needs to stop. Because they don't care for you. They don't know you. They could not care if you bought from them or not, because some other mug's gonna. But people on Instagram that I've seen that are supporting people like this, you need to give your heads a wobble, you sausages. It is stupid. Why you think that people like this should be in our hobby, it is crazy. They're people that are just in it for profit, and it's sickening. They are sickening bastards. And it is pissing me off that people like this are being endorsed. And when you have them, just because they've made a name for themselves, because they've got a bit of extra cash than other people, that they can then turn around and put up these prices, or cut big grail cards in half because it did not sell for what they wanted it to sell and offer a refund instead. It is not nice. These are things that people in this hobby do not want to see. And I've had messages saying, do you know what? That wasn't real. It was rage bait. That's even worse. We're in this hobby to be positive and supportive. We're not in it to have rage bait. Go to somewhere else. Go find a pair of sneakers and cut the laces off it to piss all your friends off. Go do that. Get out of our hobby, please. I don't know how many times I can say it. I have to say it in other languages, I think, because it's not going through. but I need to breathe. So, final topic I'll end it on. To go away from people and their shitty behaviour to shitty quality. And we're going to look at English card quality. It's not any secret. English Pokemon cards, please improve. We've all we want is good quality cards, and we've been seeing it a lot recently where we talk about grading and I want to get that perfect 10, and then you pull a card where one side is a thin sliver and one border is this fat fuck off side that you know is never going to give you anything higher than a 7. You get people that pull a Growl card or find a lovely Squirtle for their 151 collection, and then you look at the card and it's got the big square block printing lines all over it. You compare that to a Japanese card and printing lines aren't there. Near enough every Japanese card that I own, the borders perfect. English quality, what are you doing? Why can't you do it? What is it about our side of the world's quality? Because it's happening to the American English cards as well. But it's any English printing cards and the way they cut their cards, the way their cards are laid and produced and printed, it is shocking. There is no quality control. We talk about it a lot. There's more English crimped cards than there is Japanese. There's more English damaged cards than there is Japanese. There's more with printing lines, there's more with errors than you ever will get in the Japanese, and a special shout out to Simplified Chinese as well. I know they're quite new to the game, but I don't think I've still yet seen a poor quality or poor printed card. I know I've not delved in as much, and there might be other people that have seen more damage, but I've still yet to see any from the Simplified Chinese. English quality control, sort yourselves out. Sort out whatever you're doing, because that needs an overhaul. We don't want to be getting our cards and, again, pulling our chase cards and then be like, shame that the border's covering half the card. Shame that the most main part of this beautiful full art card has a big line across it where I can see where it's been printed. You don't get that. And it's one of the many reasons that I'm heavily considering moving over to the Japanese. And it's something I have been delving into deeper. So I'm ending the moan on a high note in I might be moving over to Japanese because the quality is mwah. And I know the boys on the podcast here love their Japanese, and I'm getting to the point where I can't blame them anymore. Going into this new era and a new set, it feels like the right time to be looking into moving from English to Japanese. So on that, looking at these beautiful new sets and looking at the Japanese style, let's pass it over to none other than the amazing Strongman, Ed, for a chat on the Megas in Japanese.
Welcome back to the Strongest Analytics, the only show where hot takes get top decked and bad financial decisions get shuffled into your starting hand like the non-holo rares that they are. We've got a bumper issue today, so buckle up, Buttercups, it's going to be a bit of a long one. We are going to be discussing the first sets of the Mega era, Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia. That's right, my set code sticklers. Fly your SV set codes at half-mast this evening and sound the klaxon as we raise a glass to M1L and M1S for Brave and Symphonia, respectively. This is something new. New styling, new energy, new MUR Golden Rarity tier chaos. Pokemon shaking the formula and the market's already reacting. Let's break down what's moving, what's stalling, and whether this shift signals a bold new direction or just a slightly shinier re-roll of what we've already seen before. One thing is immediately obvious, the art has leveled up as sets have gone on. These sets don't feel like leftovers or filler waves, they feel deliberate. Each SAR, each full art, it's cinematic, it's composed, and it's very modern. Gone are the days of zoomed in stock poses with glitter vomit. We're looking at dynamic lighting, diagonal compositions, and emotional staging. Mega Brave leans into strength and scale. Mega Symphonia plays with motion and flow. Both are part of what feels like a more mature Pokemon aesthetic. Now let's get into the top chasers themselves. In third place, we have Lily's Determination SIR. An utterly unsurprising entry into the top 3 most expensive cards from the set, because of course it is. Lily could be drawn reading a tax return and people would still remortgage their homes for it. Ever since the Ultra Prism card, Lily has turned into the poster child for waifu inflation. This character's cardboard stock has been climbing harder than your regrets after opening 4 ETBs and pulling nothing but a reverse hollow energy. This version, it's no different. Dropped into the market with a £240 to £300 price tag and zero hesitation, just vibes, bids, and waifu shame. Sorry, hang on, my eyes watering again. Fuck me!
One eternity later.
Waifu meta remains undefeated. No strategy, no gameplay, just raw emotional damage and nostalgia-fueled financial ruin over cards you shouldn't be that into. And if you're still holding out hope that this card will cool off, that's cute. It'll dip right around the same time Charizard stops being a chase card, or when Umbreon retires from moonlighting in Alt Arts. In other words, never. Shout out to the lads who bought 15 copies already, just in case. We see you, we just won't say your names out loud in public, but you will be on a register soon. In second place, we have Mega Lucario EX MUR. Behold the debut of the brand new MUR tier. That's Mega Ultra Rare, or as I like to call it, more unnecessary rarity. Unlike the gold cards of yesteryear, which just slapped a glitter filter over the full art and called it a day, this new generation puts some effort into it. New pose, new art, same please ruin your financial stability effect. But which of the new rarity tier came up silver? That would be Lucario. The blue brawler showed up absolutely jacked in gold foil, looking like a bootleg Super Saiyan and radiating enough golden aura to summon a cease and desist from Toei Animation. And the market? Oh, the market bloody loved it. Lucario punched his way into listings at £300 to £360 raw, which is basically the cardboard equivalent of a Ferrari deposit, except this one has worse mileage and no cup holders. A new rarity tier plus a fan favourite Pokemon, that's the Exodia of hype formulas. No one stood a chance. This thing was destined to spike, it's got everything. Brand new rarity, gold foil madness, Lucario doing anime nonsense, and collectors screaming take my money in 4K. Only time will tell if this card holds, or if it's just riding the high of being the first shiny toy in a brand new tier. Sorry, just going to wipe these tears away for some reason. And taking top spot, like it just Dynamaxed its mortgage approval rating, we have the radiant, elegant, and wallet-destroying Mega Gardevoir EX in full MUR tier glory. That's, once again, Mega Ultra Rare, not to be confused with Money Unrecoverable Rarity, though honestly, both apply here. Gardevoir pirouetted her way into the market at a silky £310 to £380, showing us all that while one era has ended, the era of gorgeous art equals instant bankruptcy is alive and well. This card is stunning. Gardevoir, surrounded by pastel flourishes, moonlit glam, and enough graceful energy to make your binder blush. It doesn't scream power, it whispers, "You'll never financially recover from this." New era, new rarity, same hype machine. This isn't a trend anymore, it's a lifestyle choice, one poor decision at a time. And look, we're no strangers to big launch prices for Japanese cards. It's no longer surprising, it is just expected. First it was Pikachu, then it was Umbreon, now it's gold foiled elegance wrapped in a new acronym. And if you think this price will calm down soon, let me remind you, it's Gardevoir, it's MUR, and it's modern Pokemon. There are no brakes on this hype train, only regrets and subsequent grading free fees. So to wrap up, what have we learned? Well, for starters, the MUR tier is off to a roaring gold-foiled start. Between Mega Gardevoir and Lucario and the ever-predictable presence of Lily, we've confirmed 3 things. New rarities is instant hype, whether people are asking for them or not. Collectors will pay anything as long as the art glows and the pose slaps. And Pokemon could release a card of Garbodor holding a shopping list and it would still somehow debut in the market at £300 plus. These sets may mark the start of a new era, but the formula underneath, it's the fucking same. We get a new label, a new texture, a new type of regret when it arrives, and a bubble mailer that was lightly played by someone's dog, and the whole market dances to the same predictable rhythm. If you're in it for the love of collecting, pick your favourite card up and enjoy the ride. If you're in it for profit, track the dips, not the current hype. And if you're in it for both, welcome to the club. Your wallet won't make it, but your binder might. That's all we have time for on this bumper episode of the Strongest Analytics. Until next time, stay strong, keep your credit card sleeved, and remember, chasing MURs is temporary. Living with the consequences of your degen session, that's the real mega here. Speaking of cards we think are mega, let's take a look at the results of last episode's little card of ours.
I don't know how to start this segment because the previous segment that we've just experienced was possibly the greatest thing that has ever happened to anyone ever. That was, and I will drop my second one of the podcast, and you can say it with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Phenomenal. It was AJ Styles all over again. That was just honestly, we're gonna have to get you a comedy circuit. When you watch this as the podcast, you will see both Tone and I muted, laughing. Oh ho, how we chortled with rapturous glee, to quote BoJack Horseman, because it was just too much. Although it's great hearing the analysis of the latest sets, and it's really interesting to see how certain cards do burst into the market with more fire than the Human Torch and the Fantastic Four. It's hard to keep a straight face when you are genuinely being more entertaining than the Mitchell and Webb look at 3 a.m. after several bifters. Moving away from chortling and rapturous glee and moving towards our weekly head-to-head-to-head contest of whose card is better. It's been a change at the top. And so I will read in ascending order from third to first. In last place, with a percentile vote that would be pretty good for an amount of fat in a packet of mints in your local supermarket, it is me and my Japanese Giovanni. 5%. Cheers. In a slightly closer and slightly more tenuous second place, with 42% of the vote, it is Ed and his Zapdos, and therefore, in a dark turn of events that have seen the Dark Knight rise once again, with 53% of the vote, a man who hates a labelled card, it's Tone with his labelled Gyarados!
We're back, baby!
Insert golf clap here.
We're back, baby!
Tone sold himself to the Stamp Devil and got the dirty, dirty fruits, like the bastard he is.
Next week he'll come in with the Seismitoad.
Let's clarify. Let us clarify. Because I am not going to have this slander. I'm so glad I have won. Because F you all. I'm putting my foot down. This was, in total heel fashion, this wasn't for any of you. This was for me. And this win goes to me. Because I said I do not like the price of Pokemon Center stamps. And all I've had for 2 weeks from you two, from the audience, from everyone, you don't like a stamp. You don't like that. I didn't say that. Go back and listen to my words. I said the pricing is ridiculous. If anything, it was a lovely, humble mush that said he doesn't like his stamp getting in the way of his art. I agreed that on some of them, it gets in the way. But I said the pricing is ridiculous. Do you know what I do love? And I have said this to many people. I love a nice little exclusive, a nice little pre-release. I love a Gyarados. And put them both together, 54% of you agree because, jog on. This boy deserved top spot. Look at it. Mwah.
He shoots, he scores, he mugs off his supporters. That's how you get the vote, Tone.
I like right at the start of that, you could see the genuine paranoia and rage. It's not paranoia, it's the Usos. it was very interesting to see, because immediately off the bat, Ed took a whomping lead with the legendary birds, and Tone very quickly started to creep up behind him. Whereas only me, myself, and I seem to have voted for Giovanni, which is very depressing. Because with a percentile of a slightly strong cider, I'm quite offended that absolutely nobody has backed me. And so this week, I have decided to stray away from trainer cards and have decided to stretch my legs and step back a few generations into the X and Y era. Now, I have come with a promo for a Pokemon that I don't think ever gets enough love or has ever received the flowers that it should. Did get a movie, but it didn't get its flowers. And for this little card of ours, I'm coming in with the Genesect full art X and Y promo with this really, really cool, almost realistic Pokemon Pikachu detective, Detective Pikachu even, sort of realism style to this art. I absolutely love this card. Look at that shine. My ring light is doing bits right now. But this is what I'm coming in with.
Beauty.
If you would like to come in with the absolute knockoff Transformer that is this bug, please do vote for Mush and his Metallic Man. Ed, for whom are you challenging top spot with this week?
Well, I saw how much everybody enjoyed my legendary bird from 151, and from the ashes of defeat rises the phoenix. And this time, he's not on his own. I have bought you, from Hidden Fates, the Stained Glass Bird Legendary Birds promo. You don't just have the fantastic Zapdos. You don't just have the ferocious Moltres. And you don't just have the cool Articuno. You have all of them stained glass, the only beautiful stained glass card we have, because the Obsidian Flames Charizard doesn't count. Tag Team Glory, Promo Glory, stained glass, beautiful art. Make the right choice and hand Tone the loss he deserves.
And can I just have more than 5%? I don't even mind not winning. I just like to not lose by such a deficit. I feel like Southampton in any football match last season. It was really genuinely quite disheartening to receive a percentile vote that wouldn't have been good for an amount of butter in a cookie recipe. All right? It really did offend me. Please, just a little bit. For me and my little... Look at him. He's so handsome. Be nice.
It's a good card. It is a very.
And if you don't vote for it, I'm going to cut it in half. All right? I'm not afraid. All right? I'll cut it in half.
And now, just before...
Look, you've both pulled out absolute bangers. You've both pulled out incredible cards. I am scared. I don't think that this is going to be a tough battle. But guys, let me just remind you, we are all fans of stamped cards here, especially beautiful pre-race.
The heel turn that I'm currently
you all love a bit
experiencing
of
from
stamp.
Tone is wild. Oh, do you know what I should have done? I should have come in with this really definitely massively genuine Dark Arbok. Absolutely perfect. Look at that card. Do you want to see the back of it? Look at how real that card is.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
next week when I lose is going to be my turn back to face where I'm like, do you know what? It was me that was wrong and I'm sorry.
It's going to be the
You've got
John
the real
Cena
Tone
running to
back.
the ring at SummerSlam that we've all been waiting for. Full lights, music and everything.
Tone is actually going to come onto the next episode with a Pokemon Center tattoo on his forehead and be like, I love stamps, especially this one.
What do you mean? I've always been a massive fan
you're
of
going
the
too far.
Pokemon Center Squirtle Reverse Hollow.
And I want to pay 3 figures for it.
That's it.
Toned headphones
We're
out
done
and just
here.
walks off. Like Shawn Michaels in '99, he's lost his smile. As we do pray that you will vote for us when the podcast comes out, you can go over to the PokéPals_podcast on Instagram and you can vote for myself, Ed, or Tone. Who wins? You decide. Who's a dick about it? Whoever wins. That's it.
Always Tone.
It's always Tone, yeah. Moving into our final segment of the evening, we reached out to you guys in the community with a story on our Instagram where we said, tell us how you're feeling currently about the state of the hobby. Now, we actually had a really nice mixture of some good, some bad. Some people just couldn't give a shit, but we're going to read them to you nonetheless. Now, I'm not going to name any names because some people have said some things that maybe some people might find offensive. Like Ed, and usually when he says it's a fucking shambles. So, the first one that we've got, and this is a response to our how do we feel about the hobby, was somebody has commented saying there is too many clout chasers / fakery. Lots of private sales and last solds, and whatnot is for apes. I think that realistically we can all kind of agree on this one. Tone's broken. Nice one. Shout out to whoever put that comment.
Wrong time for Tone to take a drink.
Yep. It's just... It's very...
Very wrong time.
It's very reminiscent of a lot of things that we've talked about on the podcast. I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because it has been a moderately heavy, we're not happy podcast. But it's nice to know that we three are not the only three in the universe that do feel this way about these kind of subjects. And so it's nice to get a feel of how everybody else is feeling about these situations. Next up, we have new PG labels are actually quite cool. We did comment on this earlier. It's nice to see somebody else doing what Ace are doing, because if only one person does it, then it's the only person that will ever offer that service, and we'll only ever get one type of it.
True.
You've got to challenge the top notch to get to the top spot. That's how it goes, and fair play to people for understanding and enjoying other grading companies for what they do and what they offer. I haven't done a PG sub yet. Tempted. I don't live too far from their headquarters. I could always pop over and question why they've given me a 1 for a water damage Arbok. Oh wait, naughty, naughty. Next one, I think is one that we can all agree on, is, honestly, I find the scarcity of packs has pushed me into buying singles, and I feel like I'm getting more for my money. As somebody that lives, as I've stated many times, in a rural bit of England, I do really struggle to be able to find not only product, but even just single packs. I'm very lucky that we have a couple of one-stops that keep them, but
Yeah.
I really struggle to be able to find actual
I don't
packs.
have any one-stops near me. I don't have any. Everyone keeps talking about this beautiful store that I do not. get to
Mine
see.
is not beautiful,
And
mate.
all
It
of
I was
the
looks
gonna
toy
bad.
say-
stores.
Please lower your expectations.
The way everyone talks about it though
Yeah.
is like, let's go to the local one-stop for this glorious. I'm like, I don't have any near me, and the one that I had to drive 30 miles down the road to find, luckily it was on the way to where I was going. A good friend of ours, shout out PokéJodes, said try here. I went there and they only had temporal forces.
It's a good set. I don't know why everyone
completed
hates on it. It's a good set.
It's a great set, but if you've completed it, you don't want to buy that set.
Yeah, fair.
That's all I'm saying. No, nothing against temporal, but when it was Destined Rivals release and they've only got temporal, it's a bit disheartening. That is what it's like living in the outskirts of London. None of the shops have anything, and it sucks because a year and a half ago they did.
I feel like you've put One Stop in this same category as White Castle at the end of Harold and Kumar Get the Munchies, where it's like supposed to be this wondrous palace of greatness, and somehow Ed's going to be like Neil Patrick Harris, where he turns up and goes, I know they've only got temporal, but here's a couple of Stella Crown. I've also done some mess in the back of your car, so I've left you an ETB. I'll catch you later.
It's like Tone's expecting to walk in and then be like, yeah, it's the weirdest thing. You're like 100th customer for today, and because of that, buy one pack, get 20 free. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. Is that too much to ask? Realistically, come on.
I think it does just highlight, though, that it's like, I think when Pokemon are bringing out these new sets, it's like, Destined Rivals, what a great drop that was. Anyway, who wants Black Bolt? What a great drop that was. Anyway, we got the Mega set now. Oh, what a great drop that's going to be. But also, here's the set that's coming out after that. It's going to be Gengar and Charizard themes. Good fucking luck getting that, boys. But what a great drop that's going to be. We dropped Surging Sparks only in November, and we have 2-year print runs. No, it's not happening. You're not getting that. No one wants the butthole Pikachu, but you couldn't even get it if you wanted it because we're not fucking printing any.
You know all those sets that you've just enjoyed that Ed's just named? Here's a reprint of Prismatic. Fuck you.
And
That's-
what everyone's been asking for, yes, we've heard the cries from the masses. Here's Scarlet and Violet base.
I do feel like it does get to a point where I constantly chase anything, and I get so like distracted or pushed in another direction that I forget why I go in there in the first place, and then I just leave with like, I'll just have one of those, just a Twilight, please, mate. Thanks. And
It's
then
like
I leave.
it's those old cartoons where it's like you're going into a shop and it's like, oh, have you got any Pokemon cards? No. Oh, okay, that's a shame. I'll go. And then as you're walking out, some man in a trench coat's there like, hey, kid, you want Twilight?
Hey.
I got Twilight. You want Prismatic? There's a Charizard in Prismatic if you want it. It's like, oh yes, let me buy the same shit sets again and again instead of the one that literally just came out a couple of months ago.
It all stems back to just print enough, just print more.
Print more and don't drop it
Another
once.
big point out to everybody, right? Don't go and buy a Destined Rivals booster box for £300 because there's a reprint in August. Right now, as this podcast is being watched, listened to, and enjoyed by whoever's watched, listening, and enjoying it, there's probably a really big reprint. Stop paying this stupid money. Right? I wouldn't mind if it was 10 years old.
£18 for a pack.
£18 a pack on Whatnot. Yeah, we're not going to touch on Whatnot anymore because I've had enough. This is one that we've touched on loads today with a lot of the segments that we've gone into, but I want to read it anyway because I actually think this is a really sad one to hear, and I think that people out there need to know that people feel this way. I feel we are steadily losing our hobby to those who are just out to exploit it. I don't think it needs any comments, but I want people out there that listen to this podcast to hear that they are not the only people that feel that way, and there are people out there that really do feel downhearted. Moving upwards, though, and with a much happier note.
Can I just want to pause on that. I just want to quickly revisit this. I think we all talk about some negative stuff on the podcast, and we all can get really negative, me especially. But this is a positive space. We want it to be a positive space, and I just want to quickly say a couple of things where I hope you don't mind me saying, boys, but all three of us at some point over the last few weeks has had them thoughts of, I don't know if this is the hobby for me anymore. I don't know if I can keep up with the negativity that has been happening. However, it's good to have these chats. Don't let it fester, because if you do, you're just going to self-wallow. And I just want to say a big thank you to these two lads for keeping me in the hobby. And I want to shout out a lot of the people in the hobby that still do keep this a really positive, engaging, lovely space. This is why we've done the podcast. This is why we bring the podcast to you. We want it to go back to them levels. It does feel like that, but we are hoping over the horizon we have that time where it is a community-driven, community-led, positive, fun hobby again. It can be that way. I also want to shout out someone that did a video on this earlier, Cinedex. Massive shout out to him. He done a lovely video saying that there's a lot more people in the hobby now that are bowing out because they can't keep up with the pricing, the scarcity, the negativity. But there are people that don't only feel that way as well, but there are people that are the reason that we stay here. And shout out to everyone that is still making or trying to make this as positive a place as they can be. Thank you to the ones that are putting in the effort. Massive shout out to you all.
And just to piggyback on that as well, if at any point you are ever feeling dejected in the hobby or you feel like it's all just money orientated, please reach out to one of us. Get in touch with the podcast channel. If you just want to send me pictures of cards in your collection that you think are sick, show them to me and I will tell you exactly why I love them. Like in our group chat, I send the boys pictures of some of the Dragon Ball cards that I collect. I know that they don't particularly care for Dragon Ball, but they will look at the card and be like, I don't know what this is, who it is, what it means even. I'm like, boys, it's in English, don't worry. But they will say, I don't know who that is, but I love the art, that looks sick. And that's enough for me, because I'm there like, yeah, this is something that I love, and I've shared it with people I absolutely adore, and they've gassed it up, and that's given me that nice warm fuzzy feeling in my tum-tum. If ever you need that, there are people in this community and this hobby that still want to do that. Yes, we can't get the sets or
Come
the
to us.
cards that we want all the time, but if you find a card that you love and enjoy and you want to show it off to people that you know will also enjoy it, not for the monetary value, not for what it could be worth graded, not what I could buy it off
Not
you
because
for
of its
and
quality.
sell, just show me the art, show me the card that you like of the Pokemon that you love and hold dear to you. Give me the little story as to why it means something to you. That's the stuff that is invaluable, that money cannot buy, replicate, or replace. That's what this hobby is all about, and there are people in it that love it for that, and that's why, like Tone said, like Mush said, we've started this podcast to give you guys a voice, but also to give you guys that safe space where if you want to show me a Pansage card that you love, show me. If you want to show me a Trubbish, I don't care for it, but if you do, more power to you. You enjoy
I
that
love
card.
Trubbish.
Tone enjoys Trubbish.
I'm thinking that Garbodor art rare is also great when he's on top of the trash pile, so I'm here for you. I'm here for the Garbodor.
Incredible card.
And that's it. That
Incredible card.
like when we've done our own collections, whether it's artist sets, and we're seeing all of these other cards that we wouldn't appreciate, we're doing master sets, and we're getting to see the incredible commons that often get overlooked. Or we've just decided, you know what, I'm going to revisit a set that I never got to touch because I wasn't in the hobby at the time. And then you just start seeing all of the unbelievable artworks that are out there. This is the place that you can enjoy it and share it with the people that will absolutely support it and love it with you. So please reach out. We're always here. Show me your cool shit. I can't wait to see it.
It's everything that these guys have said. I couldn't reiterate more. As Ed said, we regularly send pictures back and forth. The amount of times that these two fuckers have had to look at pictures that I've taken in front of flowers in my front or back garden, when I go, ooh, which one of these do you think is cuter? They're both fantastic, Mush.
Left or
You
right?
can take pictures. That's the only thing I am genuinely good at, editing podcasts and taking photos of shiny cardboard. But sometimes just that little bit of backup and somebody going, oh, I like that, that's cool, that's a cool idea. You know, we regularly bounce back and forth about ideas of posts and ideas and scenarios that we want to do. And that's what makes this place so wonderful and so humble. As somebody that lives quite out the way, and I don't live near many of my physical friends and have to do a lot of travelling to actually touch grass and see human beings, it's really refreshing to be able to, yes, all right, spend a lot of my time on a phone, but feel so comfortable doing so and not feeling like I'm doom scrolling and wasting my life. I get to express myself, I get to say my opinion, and I get to feel heard, valued, and understood and cared for and loved. And that, in this hobby, right now, is something all of us need so much more. We are 3 random geezers on the internet, and you know what? Sometimes that's all you need to feel wanted, appreciated, understood, loved, and cared for. Right? If ever you need anything from anybody, send it. If you've got a load of Ekans cards that you think are going to look cool, I would. They're great. They are the precursor to the single greatest Pokemon creation of all time. I also love Fortress. If you have one, show it to me. I like weird and wonderful Pokemon. That's what makes this hobby so fantastic. So from us to you, we love you, we hear you, we're here when you need us. Other than that, please make sure that you send us all a Steelix art rare from the Mega Set. Thank you. Much love. Moving on to something slightly more positive that we have heard from one of our listeners. And I think this is a really nice way that they've described it. I feel really good in the hobby. I've been successful in getting products locally and have clear collection goals for the future. I'm looking forward to what it brings, which is a really beautiful way to sound and feel going forwards, especially, as we've said, that there are some people that have really struggled. This one, from a very good friend of ours, I do find as a really, really wonderful take on the hobby. It's like a crash on the M1. I can't help but watch and think, thank fuck it isn't me. Which I think is a really, really sarcastic and yet very typically British way to approach any kind of, I don't know how I feel about it. Again, we follow up with another.
There's a crash that we're all stuck in the traffic.
You can't stop but stare as you move past at 10 mile an hour in the coned off lane. Another one that is frustrated, nearly a full year of product finding difficulties, which I think we all have touched on many times, and we do agree. I think it is very much the calm before the storm. I think it's only going to get a little bit tougher as we go into Mega. But out of Mega, we go into a new generation. I think with new generation comes new hopes, new horizons, and probably a shit ton of new cards. And probably multiple reprints. Because let's think at how Scarlet and Violet base set is still in circulation some places. Going in
as well.
Let's just because I was going to say it.
Put
when
your
Ed said
finger
it,
down. I'm not a
we talked about
substitute teacher. Get your
revisiting.
hand out my face, young man.
Let's lay off the S&V base slander.
I'm not slandering it. I'm just saying it's still available.
Those...
I like base set. I thought it was a good set. We talked about it last podcast with the greatest cards from the most underrated. Don't you? You put your finger down and don't you waggle it in my face, young man. I will come over.
I'll waggle this. Is that a threat or a promise?
Come to London Card Show to see Tone and Mush have a fight that will turn into a cuddle and then rampant lovemaking. And
I'm going to powerbomb him through the first vendor's table and then make love to him at the last vendor's table. Any carnage in between
as long as
is on
dick
them.
of a vendor.
And I'm going to grade it. And,
It's just Ed stood at the sub-centre going...
speaking of semi-rigid, like... But getting back onto Pokemon, I think as unfortunate a time as we're in, with people dipping out the hobby, if it gets to the point where the only people buying up stock are people that are sitting on it and they're reselling it to people that also want to resell stock, same with slabs, same with top chase singles, it is going to get to the point where the only people that these like resellers, scalpers are selling to are other resellers and scalpers. All of a sudden, people will stop buying out product because they're not able to sell it. Please just do not give in to that temptation. It will die off, as we've seen with every other fad trend in history. It will go away. It will get better. We just can't give in the short term. If we miss a couple sets, that stock that they're sitting on, they're going to have to sell at some point. And the amount of times I'm already seeing on Facebook Marketplace, people being like, I bought 40 Destined Rivals ETBs but happened to hit the Mewtwo in the first one, and I somehow managed to complete my master set from one booster box. Don't ask me how, the maths doesn't work. So I'm now selling all of these back at retail price just to recoup my money. It's happening, we're starting to see it. Just hold strong, it's getting better. It may not seem it at the moment because it's been a long drawn out process, but it is getting better. Product will be available again, and when it is, I want us all to do a pack rip together, PokéPals live style, and it is going to be a joyous occasion, and I cannot wait to see you there.
And what will no doubt happen is that I will pull absolutely fuck all. Which is fine. I'm used to it. I don't mind.
And it'll get 5%.
And then we'll pull an MUR rarity.
Yes, marvellous. Well, that's that, isn't it? We move on swiftly from that one. To end on a couple of really nice points, it's nice to see that people are feeling this way. First one comes in saying, it feels like Black Bolt and White Flare are the first sets since Surging Sparks that realistically are easy-ish to pick up, whether it being loose packs, binder collections, posters, tins, or ETBs. Now, I can't disagree, because there are still a few shops around me that have still got any of these available. Probably not an ETB, but the posters and the binders and the tins. I know WH Smith's near me has still got some tins. So there is stuff to pick up, but I'm just not really collecting it. So I'm not giving into that FOMO, as we always say, and running out and buying some. I did get myself a tin, just to open some of it, just to join in. Didn't pull anything that I was particularly excited about, but it was still nice to have that rip feeling. So it's nice to see that there are people out there putting a positivity on what has been people going, oh, there's too much of it. I don't like it anymore. Because I do get it.
I'm still surprised because I still, as someone that's not really collecting these sets, I still have struggled to find any in the local stores. Mine have been really sold out. I would say Journey has still been the best since Surgeon for availability, but I know that it might just be a location thing for me, and all my shops need to do better.
I mean, for me, it's exactly the same. I think that it only hasn't sold out or gone missing because there's only like 12 collectors in my local area. And once you've bought it all once, you're not going to go and buy 3 binder collections just to rip packs. You know, that's, I think, the hard thing. But if you're somewhere like, if you're in central London and there's tons of card shops and everywhere, and you can go 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, you've got the opportunity to go and pick up loads of it. I think the hard thing for me is when people moan about not being able to pick up the set, and they do well, I can't find any, and I don't like it, and that means the hobby's ruined. But they're not collecting the set. They're just giving in to that, well, I've got to rip it because everybody else is ripping it. Like, I'm doing Gloria Team. Loads of English and Japanese has come out since Gloria Team Rocket's been out, and I've only opened a few packs here or there. I've genuinely been very good. Picked up a few odd singles of cards I like, but still, most of the time, if I get paid, I'll go and buy myself one of the last of the big hitters for the set I need, and then I move on. That's it. I'm trying very hard to be well behaved and not spend loads of it. And also, by the time this podcast comes out, I'll probably be laying in my bed going, "Oh, it's LCS! Oh, it's LCS! Oh, cracking cheese, Gromit," which is fine because come the weekend, we're all going to be stood outside of the card show, probably giddy with joy and not going in for 3 hours while we go selfie, photo with me. Oh, let's film a video. It's going to be wondrous. I can't wait. I'm already excited. Sod the podcast. See you later. I'm excited. Anyway, and we finish with, I think, a really nice point. I'm relieved that amongst all of the negativity, there are still some fantastically good souls in this hobby, like Coop's Collectibles, Beard Dad, and Garchomp, or Jarchomp. I never know how to say his YouTube handle, to balance out the bad, because without these guys, there would be too much of it. And I think that's really nice. That's a really nice way to look at it, that you can still go onto the YouTubes and go and find your favourite content creators and go and watch their stuff. Because I love watching Coop, because he is just such a wholesome and wondrous soul. And Jarchomp I really enjoy because he also does a talk show, and he does live shows, and he does his own personal stuff, and he does the card shows. It's a really nice mixture to see all of it. So that for me is a really big win, that people are still, even amongst all of the negative stuff that is going on in the hobby, they're still going, oh yeah, but you know, that sucks, but this is great. So therefore it levels out and I'm alright with it. It's nice that there is still some smooth with the rough.
I feel like Coop as well is one of the best examples of we actually made the right person like famous. I think he's just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and it couldn't be more well deserved. Like, such a kind soul, like doing it how it should be done. Like, yes, he's giving away like cards to kids that he's not obviously giving away like $100 card, whatever. You wouldn't expect him to, because he is also a business at the end of the day. But he approaches it the right way. He's given those children like the positive experience of the hobby, and like making those memories. Like a $5, I'm gonna say loss, but a $5 loss for him, but a memory that a child's gonna like have for the rest of their life, or a card that they're going to enjoy, take to school, show their friends, tell them the story, and then that creates new like memories, new Pokemon fans, people getting into the hobby, anything like that. This is how it should be, and it's nice to see that somebody is fully like leading the charge and putting that content out there, not just going, I bought this card for $50 dollars, I've just sold it for $200. I am Stonk Dog. It's like, it's nice to see the nice being mixed in.
Absolutely.
I really want to create, and if I've managed to create it by the time the podcast comes out, I'll put it up now. Stonk Dog Millionaire. And it's just Ed at a grading table. Just excellent.
Oh god, I didn't have it in me. I can't speak fast enough for that.
I mean, it's nice, like you say, that situation for me would, like, even if I went and saw Coop at a live show, I'm 32 years old and I would still fanboy like a 5-year-old. B, 100%. If he was to go, by happenstance I know that you're an Arbok fan, here's a really random Arbok card that you may not have, or if you do, have one anyway. And that, to me, it's a beautiful moment. It's a community vibe, and it's something that I would talk about forever. Like, mate, do you remember when I went to that card show and I met Coop, and he gave me one of these? I think that is the most beautiful part of a trading card game. You can give things away for free.
It's lovely moments. Absolutely, and we talk about LCS, and one of my favourite ever LCS moments was a moment very much like this. Massive shout out to Poisonous Puddle. If you don't know who Poisonous Puddle is, she makes incredible coasters of Pokemon artwork. She done my old logo. She's now doing the artwork provided by our good friend Arta Toads. But at my very first LCS, my wife, who is not a fan of Pokemon, or wasn't, and all she cared about was Jigglypuff is cute, and she likes the Tinkers because they look funny, and that's all she said. Never collected a card in her life, and the Tinker Tough artware from Paldea Evolved, Poisonous Puddle literally just had in her binder, and she went, "Oh, I've got this, here you go." And that started my wife not only looking around the card show for other cards, she then, as a Disney fan, saw Lorcana and got into Lorcana. All from that one moment of a vendor turning around and with that kindness and generosity going, "Oh, is that what you like? Here you go. Going to pay for it. Oh, no, that's yours for free." And I think she was selling it for like £8-9. So she made a loss. My wife and I made a moment that we can remember at our first LCS that we still talk about. And it's these little things. It's people like that in the community that is, again, we talk about the positive people. It's moments like that is just everything.
I don't think that in any way, especially with the stories that you guys have said and how we feel about it, that financial loss would ever outweigh positive gain. I would rather walk up to a show, if we, like at Wolverhampton Card Show when we're there, if a kid walks past me and I see him like desperately searching for a card that I have that I don't really particularly need, I'm not collecting, or just would rather that kid have, I'm ripping it out of that binder and I'm giving it to him. At one point I had 6 Arbok Temporal Forces. I only have 3 now. I've calmed down a little bit, but the rest I've given away because people have either needed them for master sets or they've enjoyed them. At one point I did a trade with somebody and I just threw it in for free because I thought it would be really nice, and they loved it. And it's little things like that that really make this community worthwhile. It's like Ed sent me a Broly Dragon Ball card. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball. My Dragon Ball experience is playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai against my friend Sam and losing every time, but picking Broly because he looked hard and cool.
I know nothing as well. All I know is spending hours as a teenager playing a Dragon Ball Z game, could not even tell you which one, and always picking Majin Buu because I found him bloody hilarious. And Ed sent me 4 beautiful Majin Buu cards just because I said I like this character, and it's them little details. Again, thank you, Ed.
It really is. Go on,
you all
Ed.
think I'm being nice, but I'm actually indoctrinating you into believing that Dragon Ball Z is the single greatest thing ever created.
I genuinely thought you were going to go, "I know you all think I'm being nice, but I'm just sending you bulk that I can't be fucked to deal with."
It was like, in one hand, it's an envelope with Mush's address. In the other hand, it's stuff going in the bin. Sometimes they mix.
Sometimes the envelope goes in the bin and I spend 3 weeks wondering where my Broly card is. It really is, in this community and in this hobby, it's all about the small things. It really, really is. And sometimes the littlest things make the biggest of differences. We always recommend you doing the kinder and nicer thing to whoever you can when you can. If you ever need anything from any of us, please reach out to @PokéPals_podcast on the Instagram. You can find all 3 of us there and our personal pages from there. And if you need anything, if you want anything, if you have anything to say, if you've got a really cool Rattata... Oh.
What a great moment to close down the podcast. Even the poster said, "Are we done?"
It would turn out that even our
yeah.
sets have had enough. We thank you ever so much for joining us here on episode 8 of the PokéPals illustrious Pokemon podcast. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful evening. We will see you at the London Card Show. So long, farewell, and thanks for all the magic art.
The blue tack has given up, and so have I.